Good morning, my dear students. Welcome to today's science class. So, we have already started chapter 6, that is changes around us, and in the last class we had a brief introduction of the different types of changes that we see in our surrounding. So, adding on to whatever we discussed in the last class, today we'll discuss few more changes and their properties. How these changes differ from each other, we'll discuss all those in today's class. Okay, so before we discuss about few more changes, let us just have a quick recap of things that we have already covered in the last class. Now we had a brief introduction about the various types of changes. So in our everyday life, we see different types of changes around us, like day turning into night, the season changing from winter to summer, then melting of ice to water, cooking of food, etc. So changes take place all around us all the time, and all the changes are not of the same type. That means whatever changes we see in our day-to-day life in our surrounding, they may differ from each other in certain properties. Some may be chemical, some may be physical. Now, how to identify whether a change is chemical or physical, we'll discuss that. We'll discuss the properties related to a particular type of change. So we get back the original substance in some cases, and in some cases we do not get the original substance. So we'll see that how a change brings about the formation of new substance, and how again that change can be reversed. All those things we'll discuss in today's class. So these are the various type of changes that we may see in our surrounding. Some of them are related to each other, like if we talk about reversible and irreversible changes, they are related to physical and chemical changes, and how they are related we'll discuss that. Then again, some of the changes which are natural can be what periodic, can be desirable, can be reversible, and can be physical. So it depends on on their properties in which category they come. So it's not that if change is natural, it cannot be periodic. So we can give an example such as the revolution of what earth around the sun. It is a natural, but what it is also periodic. The phenomena happens what naturally. The position of the earth changes naturally. So what is changing, the position is changing in this case. So that also is a what kind of change, but again it repeats in a fixed period of time. So so it is also what periodic. So we'll discuss with examples. So let's discuss the different types of changes. So natural changes brought about by nature. So changes that happens naturally. Now growth in man and plants, that happens naturally. Then changing of seasons brought about by nature. Now change of season happens due to what, different positions of earth, isn't it? In the orbit of the earth changes from one position to another, bringing about changes in season. So we already discussed about uh, I gave the example of earth moving around sun is what type of change, natural change. Why? Because it changes its position naturally and by itself. But due to that change in position, what else happens? The change in season occurs. Then there are certain changes that is brought about by human beings. So those are called man-made change. So changes brought about by men. Examples: burning of fuels and chemical reactions, conversion of iron to steel. So these are all are man-made changes. Then there are certain changes that happen very slowly, like it takes a long period of time to for the change to occur. So those type of change is called what, slow change. So changes which occur very slowly over days, months, or even years. So for example, growth of a tree from a seed. So it takes a very long period of time for a tree to grow from a seed. Then change of seasons, of course, again it is not it does not happen instantly. It takes a long period of time. So that is also example of slow change. Then growth of many uh, living organisms, that is also slow change. Then rusting of iron is also, we can say, a an example of slow change. Then what are the examples of fast change? So occurrence of lightning, a few seconds. So lightning occurs within a fraction of time. So it is what? Fast change. Then burning of paper, lighting of bulb, bursting of fireworks. So those are all fast change because they take very less time. Within a fraction of time they can change their state. So changes which occur very rapidly in seconds or minutes are called fast change. Then periodic change. So changes that occur repeatedly after regular intervals of time and whose occurrence can be predicted. Now this type of changes, they repeat itself after a fixed interval of time. So after a regular interval of time they keep repeating. So this type of changes are called periodic change. So we can predict their occurrence. The clock, so we know hands of clock, they are also periodic. Then phases of moon, they are also periodic because it happens in a fixed period of time. In a fixed period of time we get to see what? Full moon. Then again after a certain period of time the moon disappears and again it reappears after a fixed period of time. So they are called what? Periodic change. Then non-periodic changes that do not repeat themselves at regular interval of times. So just the opposite of periodic we can define non-periodic. So examples of such changes are natural phenomena like earthquakes, cyclones and volcanic eruptions. So they are all what? Natural phenomena, but they are not predictable. We cannot predict their occurrence. So they are non-periodic. And also we can categorize this into which type of change? Undesirable change, because this type of changes brings about a lot of destructions to human civilization. So from that perspective this is not desirable. Okay, so let us discuss about desirable and undesirable changes. Those changes which are desired to occur, that is we want them to take place, are known as desirable changes. So there are certain changes that we want them to happen because it is somewhere related to the what? Development of our civilization, or it is somewhat good for our what? Growth. So examples are ripening of fruits, germination of seeds, etc. So ripening of fruits, it is desirable. We like to have fruits after it is being ripened. Then germination of seeds, farmers they grow crops and they want the seeds to germinate. So it is again desirable because if crops will not grow then we will not get food. So we want the crops to be grown from the seeds. So it is desirable. Then undesirable change, those changes which do not which we do not want to take place are called undesirable changes. Now some examples are rusting of iron. Definitely we don't want iron to get rusted because it is the strength of the iron deteriorates, it becomes weak and it can easily get damaged. So we don't want these things to get rusted. Then souring of milk, so we don't want the milk to change its taste. Then rotting of fruits, etc. So these are some of the changes which are undesirable. You can also add on to this some natural changes such as earthquake, volcanic eruptions, etc. because they too are undesirable changes. Then what is reversible change? Now reverse means what? Anything that can be brought back to its original state or original condition. So reversible change is an effect on substance which can then be returned to its original state. So anything that can be returned to its original state is called what? A change in which a substance is brought back to its original state is called reversible change. So the change alters only the physical state of the substance. However, no new substance is formed. Now this is an important point. Please underline this. No new substances form in case of reversible change. Now it is same as that of what? Physical change, because more or less we will associate reversible change with physical change most often, like the change that only alters the physical properties. now physical properties or physical state of the substance, and no new substance is formed. So these are what reversible changes, where only change in physical properties happen and no new substances form in this case. So this is reversible change, and we can also call this as physical change. So they are more or less the same thing. But remember, not always a physical change is reversible. For example, if you cut paper into different pieces, it is a physical change, but will you able to glue them and make them single paper once again? No, but that is a physical change. So there are simple things which you have to understand, so that in case of some application based question, you can apply your brain and then you can find out the correct answer. Then okay, so this is a common example for reversible change, as well as this is also an example of physical change. What is that? Water changing into ice. So water changing into ice is what type of change? Reversible change, because uh, water once changed into ice can be again brought back into which form? In the liquid form, that is ice can be again changed into water. So this is a reversible change, and it can also be considered as what? Physical change, because only the physical properties have been changed here. So this is about reversible. Now let us talk about irreversible changes. A change is called irreversible if it cannot be changed back again, or any change that cannot be brought back to its original state is called what? Irreversible changes. In an irreversible change, new materials are always formed. Sometimes these new materials are useful to us. Now, in case of irreversible change, you have to remember new materials are formed or new substances formed, and hence we cannot bring them back to their original state. So sometimes these new materials are useful to us. So sometimes we make them, we we change them into a new substance so that we can use in different form. So they are useful to us, like some plastic materials that are being manufactured in the industries, because we need some we need those type of changes to occur, so we make them in industries. So man-made changes, some man-made changes where we get the new substance is what? It is desirable also. So see, so many changes, they are interrelated to each other. So any reversible change can be a desirable change, and it can be what? A man-made change, because something which we desire is what? Desirable change. And irreversible change means we don't want the substance to again change to its original state, so it is irreversible. So an irreversible change can be a desirable change, and it can also be a man-made change. Then let us discuss about the factors that can lead to irreversible changes. Heating can cause an irreversible change. For example, you heat a raw egg to cook it. The cooked egg cannot be changed back to a raw egg again. So these are some of the factors that may lead to what type of change? Irreversible change. Then mixing substances can cause an irreversible change. For example, when vinegar and bicarbonate of soda are mixed, the mixture changes and lots of bubbles of carbon dioxide are made. These bubbles and the liquid mixture left behind cannot be turned back into vinegar and bicarbonate of soda again. So mixing can also lead to what type of change? It can also lead to irreversible change. Then of course burning is an example of an irreversible change. When you burn wood, you get ash and smoke. You cannot change the ash and smoke back to wood. So again, this is what type of change? Irreversible change. So these are some of the factors that can bring about irreversible changes, such as heating, mixing and burning. Okay, so now let us define what is a physical change. Physical change is a process in which the material experiences alteration in its physical properties, like shape, size, volume, appearance, color, state, etc. So these are some of the changes that changes the physical properties of a substance. And what can be the physical properties? Physical properties such as shape, size, volume, appearance, color, state, etc. without making any alteration in their molecular composition or chemical composition. These alterations are unstable that can be reversed using simple physical methods. So generally we can say that physical changes are reversible. They can be brought back to their initial state. But we have to also remember that some physical changes are not reversible. You cannot bring them exactly in the same state where it was initially. Then what are chemical changes? Chemical change is defined as the procedure in which the atoms of one or more substances are reordered or combined to form a new substance. So basically what is happening, a new substance is formed in case of chemical change. So this is important, you can underline. In case of physical change, no new substance is formed, whereas in case of chemical change, a new substance is formed because the chemical composition of the substance changes. There is a change in the chemical properties of the substance, hence we call them a chemical change. Then the chemical characteristics of the substance changes and it is converted into a different substance with different chemical configuration. So altogether the chemical properties of the substance changes. Now certain examples like evolution of energy. So what is accompanied in a chemical change? Evolution of energy, the creation of bubbles and changes in temperature are some signs of chemical changes. So this is all about different types of changes which we have studied in today's class. So we'll discuss few important questions in the next class. So till then, have a nice day.